The Johnson family's Christmas Eve unfolded like a scene from a holiday postcard. Snow piled softly on the windowsills, and the scent of gingerbread and pine filled the air. Ellie, the youngest, giggled as her father hoisted her onto his shoulders to hang the final ornament on the tree. The glow of twinkling lights danced across the room, casting a warm ambiance that promised a night of peace and joy. But then came the first sound, a faint thump from above, muffled but distinct. It could have been snow sliding from the roof, but it wasn't. Another thump followed, louder this time, and accompanied by a dragging noise. The family paused, exchanging uneasy glances, but brushed it off. The wind had been strong that night. It was probably just branches scraping the house. As the clock struck midnight, a new noise joined the symphony, a sharp clattering that seemed to come from the chimney. It grew louder, more frantic, until a cascade of soot spilled into the fireplace. From the darkness, a figure emerged, dressed in a tattered Santa suit, its red fabric dark and sticky with stains. The intruder crouched low, his breath fogging in the icy air. His porcelain mask was cracked, revealing glimpses of a gaunt face beneath, and his hollow eyes gleamed with something far from holiday cheer. The figure stood, revealing his full height, towering and menacing. He carried a sack, but not one filled with toys. The dull glint of metal protruded from its opening. Slowly, he reached in, pulling out a rusted axe, its blade jagged and streaked with dark, dried residue. The silence in the room was oppressive, broken only by the soft, guttural hum of a twisted tune that the intruder began to murmur. It was familiar yet corrupted, like a broken music box playing jingle bells. The family scattered, their festive night turned into a nightmare. The house, once cozy and inviting, became a labyrinth of shadows and hiding places. The intruder moved with purpose, his boots thudding ominously against the floorboards. He dragged the axe along the walls, leaving deep gouges in the wood as if marking his territory. The scraping sound echoed through the halls, a predator announcing his presence. In the chaos, Ellie slipped away and climbed into the attic, her small hands trembling as she pulled the ladder up behind her. The air was thick with dust, and the only light came from a single cracked window. She huddled in a corner, clutching a broken Christmas tree topper she had found among the boxes. Down below, the sounds of her family's desperate attempts to evade the intruder reached her ears. Time seemed to stretch endlessly. Then, the footsteps grew louder, closer. The attic door creaked open, revealing the intruder's shadow. He stepped onto the fragile floorboards, his weight making them groan in protest. Ellie held her breath, her heart pounding so loudly she feared it would betray her. With a loud crack, the floor gave way. The intruder plummeted into the living room below, landing in a heap amid shattered wood and broken decorations. The fall stunned him, but not for long. As he struggled to rise, Ellie's father seized the opportunity, driving the jagged tree topper into the intruder's chest. The killer's body convulsed, his hollow eyes dimming as he slumped to the floor, lifeless. When the police arrived, they found a shaken but unharmed family. The corpse beneath the tree was unrecognizable, its face still obscured by the broken mask. The officers' hushed whispers hinted at something even more sinister than the night's events, but the Johnsons were too traumatized to ask. They knew only one thing: Christmas would never feel safe again. The annual Frosthaven Snowman contest was the highlight of the town's holiday season. Every family participated, building towering sculptures of snow and ice. This year, the Miller family's creation was a marvel. Standing over 8 feet tall, It was an imposing figure with coal eyes that seemed to follow you, and a scarf that rippled in the wind as if alive. It was the pride of their front yard. That night, as the family settled in, young Noah couldn't help but stare out the window at the snowman. Its silhouette against the moonlit snow was unnerving. It seemed almost alive. He shook off the thought, blaming his imagination, and crawled into bed. Hours later, a loud crash shattered the stillness. The family awoke, their hearts racing. They rushed to the front yard, only to find the snowman gone. In its place was a trail of wet footprints leading toward the back of the house. Panic set in as they followed the trail, which ended at their back door slightly ajar. Inside, the house was unnaturally cold. The air was heavy, thick with the metallic scent of decay. Then they saw it. The snowman, standing at the foot of the stairs. Its coal eyes now burned red, and its scarf hung loosely, revealing what appeared to be rotted flesh beneath the snow. The snowman moved slow and deliberate, leaving behind puddles of water mixed with something dark and viscous. The family retreated, locking themselves in a room. Noah's sister, Claire, grabbed a flashlight and aimed it at the creature. The beam illuminated its grotesque form, a human corpse encased in snow, its skeletal hands outstretched, clawing at the walls. Desperation took hold. Claire grabbed a hairdryer from the bathroom and ran toward the snowman. The heat from the device caused the snow to melt, revealing the decayed remains of a man long buried beneath the frost. His hollow eye sockets and frozen lips seemed to scream silently as he collapsed into a heap. The police later identified the remains as belonging to a man who had vanished years ago. Rumors spread through the town, whispers of an old legend about the cursed soul of Frosthaven seeking revenge. The Miller family never entered the contest again, and the town's snowman tradition faded into obscurity. The first snowfall of the season blanketed the town of Blackwood, transforming it into a winter wonderland. As night fell, the Henderson family prepared for bed, but the sound of carolers in the distance drew them to the window. A group of singers, dressed in Victorian attire, stood at their gate, their voices harmonizing in a haunting rendition of Silent Night. The family stepped outside, enchanted by the ethereal performance. The carolers' pale faces and unblinking eyes added an eerie beauty to their presence. When the song ended, the leader of the group, a tall man with sunken cheeks, stepped forward. He handed the Hendersons a single black candle and nodded solemnly before the group disappeared into the night. Curious, the family placed the candle on their mantle. It was an odd gift, but beautiful in its simplicity. As the night deepened, strange things began to happen. Shadows moved independently of the flickering firelight. The air grew colder, and an oppressive silence settled over the house, broken only by faint whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. At 3 a.m., the candle ignited on its own, casting a strange, flickering glow that filled the room with unnatural light. The shadows it cast were wrong, shifting and twisting in ways that defied logic. Then came the sound of footsteps, slow and deliberate, approaching from outside. The leader of the carolers appeared in the doorway, his face now twisted into something monstrous. Behind him, the other carolers followed, their mouths unnaturally wide, revealing rows of jagged, blackened teeth. They began to sing again, their voices no longer melodic but guttural and dissonant, a cacophony of despair. The Hendersons realized too late that the candle was a beacon, summoning the carolers to claim their souls. In a frantic attempt to stop them, the family grabbed holy water from a nativity display and doused the candle. The flame hissed and sputtered, and the carolers let out unearthly screams. Their forms dissolved into ash as the first light of dawn seeped into the room. When the family investigated the next day, They found no trace of the carolers, but the black candle remained, cold and unlit, a chilling reminder of the night they narrowly escaped the song of death.